All right.
Oh, I never see you anymore.
Chief.
He's being accosted by his wife.
Yeah. Oh, don't he wish?
Over here.
Everybody got one.
Hey, stand in line.
All right.
I need this.
I was thinking there's gonna be some like weird legal thing.
No.
So
I
I'm
forgot my
happy.
glasses in the car.
No,
Okay.
I put some to be appropriate.
Okay, so we have, now the time is 6:30, so let's go ahead and do this.
Let's get her done.
We will open as per usual on December 1st, at 6:30, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call, Dave Hemmerling, Chair of the Select Board.
Marla Herrick? I showed up? No, I'm just kidding.
All right,
I just wanna
as
say
per
something after I say
usual, everybody here is gonna be familiar, but we run classroom style for rules, so just talk over people. And feel free to raise a hand or something if there's anything you wanna say about a particular topic. We don't generally ask for input all the time. Announcements. I'll make the one announcement that I got in my email right before we got here. The school has officially canceled school for tomorrow, so nothing for Merrimack Valley is happening tomorrow. Other than that, do we have other?
I
Snowflakes.
announced that the planning board meeting is gonna be canceled for tomorrow. We're rescheduling the public hearing for the 11th due to the weather.
And of course, it should be obvious, but just in case people didn't realize that we have it, there is a winter parking ban in effect, so don't park on the side of the street, especially now when there's actually gonna be snow and a snowplow that might run through your car. So,
We have a couple more before I forget, I just
Yes.
remembered. So we have the church craft fair is this Saturday, and we also have the Christmas tree lighting this Saturday. Down here at the.
What time's that all at? Ross, we should know what time
No,
that's
it's
at.
Saturday, but I don't know the time.
There's a poster outside the door here.
Oh, well, I came in, I come in, I'm like, that private guy, I come in the back door. What does it say?
I have to go look.
I know,
alright,
I didn't, that's like you were testing
Isn't the
me.
tree lighting at 6?
I think the tree lighting is at
I
Okay.
think so. All right, so with the announcements then out of the way, unless there's further from department head to announce?
So, well, I have one piece of item I would like to add to the agenda before the department heads. We recently had a member of the trustees of the trust funds pass away, Paul King. It's a very big loss to the town, and is a valuable part of the community, and I know he's always helped me in the past. But because we have a vacancy of the trustees of the trust funds, Mary Welch, who has previously been a trustee of the trust fund, is willing to step in and help out up until the March election. So I have the paperwork here in the oath of office, if you would like to sign the paperwork and swear Mary in.
We're swearing it?
We're swearing
Do
it,
that.
Mary.
Why would you do that?
And I guess I will just ask again, so it is noted, but I don't believe this is one of the incompatible positions with the clerk, but just to double check.
That's correct, because I was prior, while I was clerk, a trustee.
Okay,
So that's already been checked.
thank you very much.
Yep.
Your tree lighting is at 6, and the craft fair is from 9 to 3.
Perfect, thank you.
And there's a free movie the 3rd Friday of every month.
Okay. Gordy, you should be at every meeting.
No.
I started with it.
That's enough out of you.
It'll look fun. How that's going.
What did I do? Yes, I know where I was supposed to-
Oh, no, my phone is done. All right. Do we have
She's
to-
ready to be sworn at.
Yeah.
Now, if we wanna just do the oath of office.
How about I just hand it to you and let you swear it, instead of doing repeat after me?
I sincerely swear and affirm that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. I, Mary Welch, do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as trustee of the trust fund for an interim term ending March 10, 2026, according to the best of my abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of this Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God. So,
Thank you very much for your service.
And thank you for helping out. We
I'd like
appreciate
to
it.
say that Mary was very helpful
We
the
can
other
put
day
that.
when we heard about Paul.
and
Put
can I
stuff in the
add
folder.
that his celebration of life will be here Sunday?
Just so Mary has it.
Oh, okay.
So,
Did you
Sign
So
that.
I heard it,
State
but,
just needs to sign
Okay.
there. I met with Ginny and their daughter Karen today. So,
Dave will repeat that, because that's good for everybody to
you
know.
said that was
So I
2 to
will-
6 on Sunday?
2 to 6, 2 to 4 on Sunday.
2 to 4. So-
And then that's the letter going to Sugar River Bank, letting them know that Robin's going to get to the bank, or I can fax it over tonight.
waiting.
you're a select board
So-
member, you shouldn't have to get up to do this stuff.
So these,
I can do it.
the announcement there was for Paul King's celebration of life, Sunday from 2 to 4:30? 4.
4,
2 to 4,
yeah, here at the town.
here at Town Hall.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. All right. With that taken care of, we can move on to department heads.
Start off spending some money. I've got a purchase order for $3,000 to replace the heater in the garage section of the public safety building. It went out 2 years ago. Huckleberries came and fixed it. It lasted about 2 days. They came back again, tried again. It didn't last but a week. And so it went all last year without being repaired. So we said, well, we'll wait and see what happens. They said they were gonna see if they could find us another used one. Well, they couldn't. But they came out last week and looked it all over. 2 guys worked on it for 2 hours, didn't charge us. They said it's gone. So it's $3,000 to replace it. We have $5,158 in the public safety building maintenance, so we could take the $3,000 out of there.
Yeah, she might on Wednesday, so just call.
And there's a purchase agreement and everything on the back that explains it.
Have we requested a quote or anything from any other
They're the ones that
vendors?
installed everyone that's in the building. I kinda trust them, we get all our propane from them.
That doesn't sound horrible either, does it?
No,
We didn't think so either.
And this is just gonna be another like corner box unit,
Yep.
Radiant, or?
It's, I don't know, 2 feet by 3 feet, maybe 2.5 feet by 3.5 feet.
Trusting Steve's judgment, I'll make a motion.
I second that.
I don't know that we even need to do that, I think it's just signed, but,
Okay.
Yeah, you just sign it.
Hey, look, we did a little extra tonight, Dave.
That's good. Nothing wrong with a little bit extra.
Right. Anything nowadays that's under $3,000, we applaud. I don't know about anybody else.
this go over there or over there?
I need the back sheet to give to them.
Huckleberry.
Oh,
Take a look at that. And as long as I get a purchase order, I can sign it.
Phil. Yeah, so that's his, I'll pass that way, I guess.
Thank you, I will make a
Unless
copy
you
and
want-
get it to Russ.
Okay, yeah, unless it needs to go the other way, I don't know which way you guys
Wendy
generally
Wendy might
handle it.
want a copy of it, but that's, yeah, I can think of.
You don't need one?
Do you have a copy of it?
I will.
Yeah, if we can get it to me.
I
or
wanted to
Wendy.
get one that's signed, so that way I can bring it down and give you
Yeah.
a copy that's signed.
We need to
That
get it
makes
in.
sense.
we need to turn things into Wendy or we get in trouble.
Yep.
Everybody
Okay.
needs that person.
Police department, we have, as of the last financial report, on 11/20 was the last one that Wendy ran. We have used $305,035.87 of our budget. We still have 13.73% remaining. So we're good for the year. We'll have money to turn back in, which is good. 50 motor vehicle stops, summonses, $396.80 in summonses. The officers handled 57 calls for service. We have been getting a lot of calls for suspicious activities, which is vehicles mainly. We have put out a couple of cameras, one behind somebody's house. And extra patrols in the area, just to see if we can find out who it is or what it is. And the cameras have worked out good before. I've got a couple of cell ones that take pictures and send them immediately to my cell phone. So I'm kinda hoping to put those down in 2 different places and get them out there, so we won't have to wait. If we get a picture of somebody or any notifications, I'll have it within a minute right on my phone.
What are the vehicles doing? Stalking like behavior?
It's kinda weird, cause at one of the residences, they think they've been trespassing on the property going in and just doing things on the property.
Not to get into the weeds, I was just curious.
And a lot of it's just constant riding back and forth in front of the places, which is a little unusual.
Yep.
Whether they're casing them or whatever, we don't know for sure. But we haven't had any burglaries to date.
What time of the day is this happening?
Nighttime, and it's kind of varies, because sometimes it's midnight, sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but it's more between midnight, 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Well, I'll state it publicly, it's a very bad area to be thinking about burglarizing someone's house.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You could run into one hell of a surprise.
In most places in Webster, you will.
You will?
It's been the typical calls that we've averaged every single month. Civil matters, juvenile issues, mental health issues, we've had a few of those. The motor vehicle complaints, pistol permits, road hazards, we have quite a few of them. Suspicious activities reported, that's them. Sex offender registrations, that's ongoing. Subpoena services, vacant house property checks, we do quite a few of those. Welfare checks, citizens assist, assist the fire and EMS, assist other agencies, animal complaints, and we had one sudden death, which was disturbing as it could be, and one disturbance reported. Other than that, we just have ongoing training at the academy to get everybody snuffed for their hours for the year, and everything else is running fairly smooth.
Have you been made aware of the proposed changes the police academy is going to be looking at? Okay. One of those will be the physical agility test.
Which is long overdue, we're trying to get that
We're
over.
the only state
I
that
mean,
does it.
They've sent it out a number of times for all the chiefs to put their input in, and I gave them a lot of input on it, and I went down and talked to the director a couple of times. And there are some departments that are just adamant to keep it the way that nobody else uses it. It's antiquated, it hasn't been used in any other state for 10 years, but we continue to hang on to it.
Anybody 20 to, or 18 to 30, it might be applicable. But when you've got career veterans, that life changes take place. You've got 15 to 20 years in, they've given
Sure does.
very recognizable service. It
Yeah.
puts the department to town, and, you know what I'm saying? So,
Well, what we're seeing through across the state is, a lot of departments are losing guys because they can't pass that PT test. And they're not missing it by much,
right.
but I don't know if I've ever seen, now I've been doing this for 52 years, I've never run a mile and a half after somebody. If I gotta run a mile and a half, I'm gonna be in my car chasing them.
First 100 yards.
Yeah, it just never happens, and that's the killer for most guys.
Dogs, that's what dogs are for, after 100 yards.
Well, the younger guys that can run fast.
You know what I'm saying, I mean, it's,
But they'll leave the service.
yep.
They'll cross the border into Vermont, they'll cross the border into Maine, they'll cross the border into Massachusetts. Instantly hired,
Yep.
none of that.
Well, the hiring issues we're dealing with both in fire and police, and I said in a, as I was telling you people, I said in a very, very well-presented presentation at the Municipal Association on fire departments and the issues they're struggling with, looking for creative ways, you know what I'm saying, just like police departments, so. No, I get it, I totally get it, I agree. So, not that that makes a difference, but, you know.
Well, and sometimes the state gets a little carried away.
Yep.
To get your license driving a big truck, they want you to parallel park. Who parallels parks?
Nobody
That's
parallel
right.
parks a truck
So
like that.
it's just an example that I can have lived with and
Right.
felt, so
No, no, I
totally
agree.
understand. You can have a real good driver, but just because you can't parallel park, really?
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen somebody parallel park a triax. Never, ever, ever. Much less a TTU in it.
Right, with a 45-foot trailer on the back, but yes, so, but anyway, so,
Absolutely.
that's good, hopefully people are coming to their senses. Cause you're right, there's life changes.
Well, there are,
And when
yeah.
you hit 50, it shows.
And I used to run a 7-minute mile, if I can keep it under a 14-minute mile these days, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? It's-
I can, but somebody's chasing me.
Don't be telling you stories.
100 yards the other direction.
Absolutely.
Without the dog, yeah.
I'm gonna be good for that first 100 yards or so. Then,
There was a day.
But those
I call
days
it my
are
Miss
gone.
Wiggins run,
all
the
right.
shuffle.
Sorry to get off on.
Anything further?
I'm good.
Oh, how's the sign thing coming?
They're gonna come up and replace the module that's.
No, I'm sorry, the road signs, the committee.
So we had a meeting, and we're gonna give you the proposal of all the changes that we'd like to see done, and it's gonna be up to the board to say looks so good, okay? And you guys have to vote and approve on it
When
That's the only
do we
way it can
expect
change
to
is-
get that recommendation?
by the next meeting.
Okay. That'll be great.
There'll be some speed limit changes, I would presume.
Couple of speed limit changes, stop sign changes, stop signs added and deleted.
Oh, right, because we still can vote on one
A
that
few
should be deleted.
changes. I think we're pretty much in agreement on every single one of them, that needed to be changed, and it makes common sense, it
Yep.
looks like. But when you guys read it, you'll know right where the places are anyway.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything further for Steve?
No, thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
And we don't have Emmett tonight because he's on a little vacation.
Well, what a time to be on vacation with the storm coming.
Well, I don't think he knew that was
He
coming
lucked
when he
out.
went.
He lucked out.
But he didn't know for sure. Yeah,
Oh, you say that, but I'm sure there's all that, you know, you think, oh dear.
maybe.
All right. Anything further for department?
Nope,
Okay.
that's it.
I need to go get my glasses.
Without other reports, that brings us to salt shed site plan, old business.
Well, this is something Marla had brought up and asked me to put on the agenda.
So,
Oh, you-
yeah, well, I know we've been talking about, I know there was talk of having an engineer, right? And sometimes, all depending, different engineer firms are priced differently,
Correct.
to say nicely. So, I know a gentleman, owns his own, he's very reputable, and I talked to him the other day, cause I really, something doesn't need to be overkilled, okay? But I also am concerned that we wanna do it right the first time, and not spend money not wisely, and make sure that we have, kind of a plot plan, so that we, cause salt sheds showing up there or not, it's the further, it's where we wanna put our stuff as stuff's not a good word, as our highway garage, the equipment and buildings. And so when I spoke with him the other day, cause we're working with him on another situation, I said, his name's Anthony, I said, Anthony, what would you do this for? He says, somewhere between a couple grand to no higher than 10, okay? And he says, he likes working with, doing things like this, cause it's not major, it's just coming down, making a plot plan, setting something, he'd meet with us, go over things, and it would just be billable hours, and it wouldn't, he felt very confident that he could keep it under 10 with not any problem. He says if anything, he just, probably hard for him to give a number when not knowing what we're expecting, of course, but I said, I just would like somebody to be able to look down, draw up, and tell us in, you know, some recommendations on where, you know, the lay of the land, where the drainage should go, the water, just so that, not that Emmett can't figure that out too, but amongst that, you wanna make sure you're putting your, whatever, your garage, your salt shed, your whatever, in the right spots to be able to pull all that drainage together is, would be my
And
biggest concern.
Is this site plan engineering only, or is this also engineering for what the building and stuff and underlayments and what
Site-
should be like?
Just pretty much site planning.
Topography.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Topography.
of the,
And where the well
Can I
is.
ask, and we've been involved, I think you and I, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you and I agree on many aspects of this, okay? And Dave has been involved in some of the discussions, but he wasn't involved in the last, I know he saw the tape, but we had quite a discussion at the last zoning board meeting. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in listening to local knowledge, and the more I've sat in this chair for the last 8 months, and I'm definitely still a newbie, I heard some things said by the audience that really made me think a little bit. I listened to Addie Mock. Addie Mock did the safety building. He's been brought up in this community. I respect his judgment on many things. And he made some very good points. I think you're on the right track, and I think what we should do this year is, instead of moving anything, take a real good look at what this gentleman proposes, take a good look at how it fits up there. And I say that because I went to the dump the other day, and I drove by this plot of land over here where we went through that whole tree issue earlier this year. Is that town land over there where the sand pit is?
Yes.
Why aren't we looking at that site also? Am I missing some? No, it could be me. If it is, tell me. But maybe that's an optional site, because Eddie made a good point. If you get salt up here and you've got a metal public safety building, you don't want that salt infringement in wet weather, which we have here with Mount Kearsarge, and we talk about it with this building too, and this is a classic example, coming down in that metal building and creating a paint issue or a roof issue or whatever. You know, we've had it's a nicely built building, but again, we built it per specs, per budget, and it probably could have, been built a little differently, and I'm not second guessing it. Or do we have your guy also take an optional look at this? Because both Addie and several other people made a good, what's the problem we're trying to solve by moving this? And would an addition to this, I mean, I want to look at all aspects.
agreed
I
100%.
think I just wanted to explain myself, so, you know, I think maybe Dave, you're in the same boat with it. And I don't want to spend a lot of money this year, because we don't, you know, we've got a lot of expenditures in many other areas, and, so, you know, I'm with the environmental people, but I want to make good decisions in this.
Yeah, so that's a perfect segue into, because I'd previously been doing the research, I came with where I'd gotten like
Yep.
minutes and what I
Yep.
could and couldn't find. I forwarded to you all minutes that were provided to me by a member of the Sand and Salt Shed Committee. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just read a quick thing. This is my statement. As the salt shed is on the agenda, and I forwarded the meeting minutes I was sent regarding the salt shed committee. They don't appear to be all of the minutes, but there are a couple highlights here to help guide us. Of particular note, this is the founding purpose from the 2018 625 minutes. Quote, "Purpose and mission of this subcommittee. Various groups have discussed issues surrounding the salt shed, its location, its potential for polluting both the Oxbow and the river, and its relocation to a more suitable area. This committee intends to find a more environmentally suitable location. The current committee constitutes a reformation of older groups." And the end quote. And so in that regard, their primary place that they considered at least 3 that were in that same minutes to start with, one of which was up behind the Sand and Safety Building. That was what they really had decided that they wanted to do, and then for negotiation and other types of reasons couldn't, and then it became on the table again, and eventually that's what they did. And then from the last of the minutes that I had been sent, which was from 2020, 10/6. This is also relevant after the purchase of the property behind the safety building. Quote, The purpose of this meeting was to share ideas on the next steps for realizing the removal of the salt shed from its current location to the new site behind the safety building. End quote. So, for more than 2 years, there was a dedicated committee running specifically for the purpose of moving the sand and salt sheds from over there to behind the safety building, which reformed from earlier committees that were working on similar issues of siting. That's kind of where the mandate, for lack of a better term, has been from. And I'm sure there would have been a recommendation that I didn't find in these minutes to the select board at the time to purchase the land for this purpose. So there should be some minutes from the select board about that purchase and doing it under those and the path forward. Though I haven't gone to go search for those yet. But that's kind of the way that it goes. I will mention, though, that when this was happening, what is currently our sand pit was taken by the town as deeded property, but had not been turned into town use property at the time, so may not have been considered in this. And so that might be another possibility. The thing I would state there is that one of the reasons that I remember, and this is just my memory from some random conversation, of making sure that it stayed around here was the centralness of it to every place in town as opposed to being on the very edge of town. But I will leave that there for that topic and my statement of the other stuff that I've recently found out.
No, it's good, it's good.
You know,
Thank you.
well, we're just looking at Marvel, what she,
Oh, I was just looking at the writing.
Oh, yeah, trying to read
I
that
thought
sheet.
you were getting my glasses
I
in the
just
car.
got that today, so I haven't put it in the nice, easier to read format yet.
That's like when
got
you,
it.
get vitamins, that's what it looks like on the bottle.
Isn't this the
The
same
balances of the
spreadsheet?
that's the reconciliation for the trust funds. And it shows the new balances at the end, which I put into a simpler formatted document once I get them, and I didn't get that until like 3:30 this afternoon.
Okay.
So it's
Didn't
not,
read it.
At
it's
some
not in
point, you're
there.
gonna enlarge this so we can read it.
Yeah, that's kind of.
So
It's
how
just
do
one-
how do we look at moving forward with the salt shed and sand shed? Should we be getting quotes for engineering or estimates for engineering so that we can move forward on that and decide what makes sense at what location? Or how does the board want to try and move forward?
I think to appease some residents of the community, I don't know how many, there are some that have a conservation ethic, and I respect that. And also to appease people like myself, and maybe one or more members sitting at the table here, I wanna drill down a little bit further. And I wanna be a good listener, and I wanna be not somebody that jumps to a conclusion. It could be done very easily. Okay, it's environmental hazard. Well, I haven't seen the evidence of that yet. And all I'm saying is that I think we get someone in, I think we're agreeing on what we're all saying. Get someone in who can draw up a formal plan of what this should look like you pointed out, the underlay of what this should be, and what are the appropriate mechanisms to identify that. Do we need a rubber, whatever it is underneath it, don't we? You know what I'm saying? And then move forward. If this gentleman, for what he's saying, I mean, I don't think you're gonna get something less than $10,000, and I could be wrong. But it sounds to me like he knows what he's doing. You've worked with him, so you obviously know what you're doing. And if you're trusting him, then I would trust him also to put together a formal plan, and we can always work with that. I mean, it's like building a house. You can always turn it north, south, east, and
Right.
west, and you know what I'm trying to say? And then some evaluation from somebody, and maybe him, and he knows the right people, because I think Addie makes a good point. I don't wanna lose sight of that point. I didn't think of that. I'm sitting here going, my goodness, that makes good sense. And, you know, and Addie did also mention in public, this isn't behind the
No,
scenes, it's in public.
right, no.
And he mentioned, you know, I nearly buried my skidder in the public safety building lot. I know I'm gonna bury my skidder up there, or the bulldozer, or whatever you use, so I think we really need to be cognitive with understanding the conservation folks. We need to be cognitive of, that might not be the most perfect site now. Now we have this other land, and I get it, and I was gonna say, I didn't wanna get into all the, you know, I'm even getting carried away, but I'm just saying, I didn't wanna get into all the reasons, well, but you're 100% correct. I remember that keeping it central was also important too. I mean, you get the fire station, you get the public safety building and all that, you get the school, you get the town building here. Keeping it central makes it easier to get, you know, and then you kinda get a breach out area, if you know what I'm saying. I get it. So, you know, maybe there is still good reason to put it up back here, but we need to really evaluate that.
So how do you envision the path forward? Is it trying to hire this guy? Is it requesting quotes for that service and then choosing one of them and then doing it? Is it, like, what do you see the path for making an actual decision?
Well, nowadays, if you can get things done for $10,000 less, you've got a heck of a deal. And I think if you two are in favor of doing that and moving forward, it may be putting in the contract if it comes to a point where we need a stopping point, and or we transition to another level that deals with the DES issues, we might have to do that. But I think, I haven't seen a plan yet that says what the building looks like, what, you know, I mean, I know Emmett brought a sketch in, but I wanna see a professional plan. And something, you know, like I said, we can move it around, and if it needs to be juggled a little bit up here, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you would build a home.
And I think my biggest concern is just, and again, not saying that he doesn't know what he's doing, it's just, it's nice to have a plot plan and know the sense of the drainage. And, you know, if we prep for that, let's prep it right the first time.
Exactly.
And so, you know, and I agree with John, the fact that, Anthony was very loose on the fashion of, he realizes we're a small town, you know, and sometimes those are more of a fun challenge than his big projects he's got to work on. So he just said to me that, you know, he would be very, very fair, and I know that of him anyways, so.
Well, I would assume collegialism comes into it, and quite frankly, if he needed a police car and I could make a call to somebody, get him a police car, $5,000, you know, we know different people,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
as an example, I do that, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I mean,
yeah.
not that I would step my nose into that, but I'm just saying, I think sometimes when you know people and people are fair and they know what they're doing, and you are obviously in business, your business is successful, so I'm not gonna second guess it. I guess, you know, I know
Yeah.
Dave likes to watch the money, and rightfully so, and I get that too, but I don't think we're gonna get somebody to walk in the door and say, I'll do that for it, I'll sketch it up for you, you know.
I was very encouraged, actually, with his,
Yeah,
my conversation.
I mean, it's, you know, it's my feeling.
So, in trying to think of how to turn this into something actionable, to get actual decisions that we make and go forward, would it make sense to request a more formal estimate or quote and present that at the next meeting, and also invite everybody that was on the sand and salt shed committee to come join and provide feedback of if they like the direction we're going?
The only thing about his quote would be, I need to give him what he's exactly quoting. So, the road up back, the drainage, that's what I
The
would need to.
drainage, the salt shed, and then the potential of having a highway building up there
Yeah.
in the future.
And he may want to hear from you guys what you're exactly looking for, so I don't
I
misplace it.
think Dave's point's good. He's the engineer, and I think we're all saying the same thing, but what I like to see is when he does it, is the salt shed itself, then in a dotted line transformation, you know what I mean? By, you know, you do in a dotted line, see what expansions of that might look like, if that, does that make sense? And then I'd like to, you know, if we're gonna bring him in, I'd like him to take a look at this down here, because if we get budgetarily crunched, and we could,
Yeah,
I was talking to a town the other day, and they're budgetarily crunched, you know what I'm saying?
but is there a way to preserve where it sits?
Right, or do something to that to
Right.
keep it working.
Preserve it,
to
yeah.
point made.
Yeah,
Point
yeah, I
made.
agree,
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
If he's willing to do that.
yeah.
I mean,
I think I heard that from him anyways,
Yeah.
the other time, but I'm not speaking for him.
I mean, I don't mean to sound like, you know, an old fuddy-duddy, but you know, you sit up here and you listen to people, and that's what you need to do. And I've heard a lot of good things on both sides of the issue, and I, you know, like you, I wanna make sure we're making the right decision, because we only have one direction to make the right decision. That makes sense. I'm not afraid to make the decision, but I wanna make sure we're making the
That's
right.
right.
So does that sound like the path forward that,
If you're
Makes
okay with
sense.
it, yeah, if you guys are okay with it.
okay, yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. Is there anything that we need to do to,
You're just getting a quote, there wouldn't be a motion, we're
Okay.
just getting an
Do
estimate.
we sound reasonable, audience? I mean, if we don't say something, but I
Makes
mean,
sense.
I like the expert looking at the land.
Yeah,
You know, identifying where the runoff is gonna go, where is the well. So, getting an expert look at the topography, you're gonna be concerned with under the earth as well as on top of
Right.
the air. You know, so
Mhm.
that's
Do
a
we
really
wanna
smart idea.
include
Yep.
doing the Dustin Road lot too? Have them look at that lot as well?
That's where
Oh,
I'm
you-
in favor of looking at it, except I don't wanna do that if we also
Also
get,
wetlands, there's too much
Yeah.
wetlands to do anything there. That would really not be a good idea with all that wetlands to put a salt
yeah,
shed in
the
there.
thing that, and I think we're gonna find that that would be the case over there. But I would be in favor of looking at it, except I don't wanna waste
Money on.
money towards an engineer doing that.
Thank
If
you.
there are reasons that we already know we don't want it there, whether it's because the road agent doesn't think it makes any sense, or he's gonna spend more money than we might save because of extra truck runs,
No, that
or
makes
something of that nature.
and there's all that stuff, and Dave's
Yeah.
right, there's all that stuff underneath that we don't, you know, I mean,
We don't know.
Emmett made good sense when he said, well, it takes me, I'm just using this example, I might be way off the scoop here, but he's taking, 10 shovels over here and 5 shovels over here, and if I do that, that's now 20 shovels over, you know what I mean?
Right,
I was watching him the other day down here with the front end loader, yesterday, and he's got it down to an art as to how much sand he puts up and puts out, and you know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
just saying, so.
So, all right. So
Yeah,
that-
I'm not overwhelmed on the Dustin Road, I
Yeah.
don't know that much about the
I don't know
site,
much better than
and
It-
do you honestly do
Basically,
need
it's
to
just
live-
that we get our sand out of it at this point.
Yeah, but she, you know, she lives out there and she
Yeah,
gets
she
it,
does.
so, yeah, just, Marlo, I'd say just, we do or we don't, or we do and we do.
Yeah, I would say that we should include what mitigations might look like over here, or properly doing it over here, whether we tear it down and build something else, and/or what the site would look like up behind the safety building.
I mean, there is a philosophy, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but sometimes there's a philosophy that anything near, and you could go around New Hampshire and around America and the world, and anything near rivers is not good. But there are a lot of things that still remain near rivers, and I'm not saying that to be anti-conservationist, I'm just saying that,
Well, you have a bridge that goes over the river that gets,
well, you know, you can't drive a car down
That
89.
That runoff goes right to the corner wells.
And the runoff on the salt from 127 is right here too.
Point made,
so,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, then you got the whole bridge project going in, and that's gonna be additional salt put in that area, because they don't want cars running into the construct. You know what I'm trying to say, you can, there's a balance and a rebalance.
You have to go beyond the.
But let's get the expert in.
And then
Yeah,
the
so let's do that, and let's invite all of the salt shed committee members into the next meeting, and we'll present that to them and see what everybody thinks.
It'll be a good step ahead to get, at least get a professional,
And-
well, let me see what his time frame is too.
Oh, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It is the holidays, we
And
may
we-
wanna,
And we certainly want, that's true, well,
You look at the
slightly before it, but yeah,
topography, you can do that.
pretty
I
much.
just, oh my god, this month's gonna go.
But we should, when we have that and we bring in the committee,
If they could enter.
I don't know if he was technically on the committee, though he was expected at most of the committee meetings, was Emmett as the road agent. We definitely.
Well,
want
Emmett's
him
gonna
there.
be at the next meeting, cause he said he would go over his department head report at the
Yeah.
next meeting.
go over what?
His department head report.
But let's have it let's go into January for, that gives him a month to get together, and I can get a hold of him and kind of explain that, and then,
No, that's
and
fine.
that gives them, people a minute
As I said,
to be away and all that kind of stuff, so.
I don't really wanna go spend, I mean, personally, this is me, I don't wanna go spending money this year. I wanna make sure we're set, you know, we got a lot to do here, we got a lot of,
I would like to see like the estimate or quote so we can say we're going to do it, even if we're not doing stuff until January, February.
Okay.
and I don't mean him, I mean other stuff in the town that we've gotta.
Okay. Anything further for the sand and salt shed? All right.
Or a huge.
And just a note, since you're discussing in the audience, the microphone does pick everything up really well, including in the audience. I can't hear it, but YouTube will.
So no swearing.
All right, so that moves us on to our budget then.
So I separated for those of us with a binder. I put a yellow tab in to separate the budget, because I believe everything's been put in the spreadsheet at this point. And we can go through the budget if we want to, and
Having just seen the CIP draft, I find it frustrating that they're saying, hey, let's just put money from stuff in places as opposed to this is what's needed in each fund. Because we can certainly decide how to put things into funds. But it looks like they just kind of went on a, hey, I won some money, let me find places to put it spree.
well, there is reasoning behind it.
I'm sure, and because we are getting stuff, though we don't know exactly the amount yet, in returns, and that are gonna be in our unassigned fund and similar, but we don't know exactly how much and where at this point, and when that will show up in our coffers, so.
So the next big thing we have to do is fund the trust funds. And the tax bills are going out, so we have time to put the money into the trust fund prior to the end of the month. And I think we just received our last bill for the bridge today, and that's for the final work that they did over there. And so that's gone to Wendy, and then when Dana comes back, you'll have to get the reimbursement paperwork in. So we're not gonna see that reimbursement, it's gonna be delayed a little bit. Only because you need to be federally trained to do the reimbursement, there's no classes to do that until next year.
Yep.
So I won't be able to take that class to.
Yeah, I remember we had to send him off to the class for it.
Yep. So we have to wait till he comes back to get the reimbursement.
Okay. So how do we want to go through, like, is there anything else that we have to talk about on the budget, or is it just, do
No.
you wanna go through
I think we
portions of it?
should go
or-
through it and start making it, it's a good night to do it, there's not a lot on the agenda.
Okay. Is there any particular section that anybody on the board wants to jump to and start talking about?
I feel like we've gone over it.
I think we've beaten it like, you know,
Yeah, we've gone over it, we
Is
haven't
there
done
something
like
that
a
bothers you,
workshop or
Dave?
anything.
Cause I feel like everybody tried really hard to stay within their means. I don't feel like anybody was, but you guys
Yeah,
jump
so let me
in,
take a quick look here.
and I wonder if you
Well,
wanna.
how much did we go up, cause it's saying at the bottom here 12%, but I don't think that's right.
At what?
At the
Overall?
projected tax rate
Oh.
by 12%.
Nothing is gonna be right in the, like, estimated tax
Okay.
rate and stuff, because we don't have all of the numbers in
Cause I
that stuff.
remember you said you did the math, it was like 5%.
No, so, a lot of it is based on numbers, right?
Right.
And so, some of the things that we don't have yet are things like reviews and
Right.
salaries. And some of the things that we don't have yet, because we just got them, are and this is just a draft, are the CIP numbers. So the numbers that are sitting in there just so it wouldn't be empty are things that I kind of guessed where we might go without any discussion. Just so that it wouldn't be like, oh, there's no funding for warrant articles, we have no taxes, yay!
Right. Well, that's it. Well, the other thing I wanna mention now that we're talking about meetings and not having information, I had put it on later, but Hopkinton would like to have a meeting on the 16th to go over ambulance numbers.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
I met with the gentleman we met with.
From Warner?
Yeah, who was very, he's a nice guy, and he's very articulable on that whole, I met with him Saturday, he called me specifically, and he said, I understand you're the liaison with the fire department. I said, I am. He says, and that's the way it was meant to me. He says, would you be willing to meet with me and talk about what I would refer to as the intestines of that contract?
And he sent me a summary of what you talked about, so if you want that.
I asked him to do that.
Yeah, so I
Okay?
have it.
And would you be kind enough to,
Would you like me to,
do you mind?
yeah, let me pull it out, some correspondence.
And I think he makes some excellent points, and I want to point one thing out I'm still a little, I won't say confused about, but
So what you did at the meeting was to review the billing statements, review the contract, review the notes from Harry, and review the conversational, and some brainstorming. And one things that you, basic points where you value the alliance. We need a desired quality ambulance services delivered at a sustainable cost. Consider regionalization with Henniker Ambulance and what that cost is. Greater attention to the recovery through tighter administration were the big basic points that came out of it. And then the action steps were to contact the Hopkinton TA to establish a meeting with Warner, Webster, and Hopkinton without the full boards, just one member of the board each, and maybe the fire chiefs or the TAs to come in and discuss it prior to the meeting on the 16th.
that was my recommendation, and I said I'd run it by the board here tonight, and I suggested, since Dana and I started this thing, that you come along with me if
Yeah.
the board, our board members want me to continue. So I think we need to sit and talk about, I'll give you an example. We get charged apparently for a run that they don't go on. How that works is they'll get toned up. Let's say Webster needs an ambulance. And Steve, you know this maybe just as well as I do, so step in with me if I'm saying something incorrect. So, Webster requests an ambulance. Hopkinton responds to Webster. They only have one crew on. Now, Hopkinton gets a second request for an ambulance in Hopkinton. They tone out to another community by mutual aid. They are charging us, and let's say they get a call up here. They are charging us either for that second call, since we're occupying their ambulance, or if they get called up here, and it works in reverse, let's say the Hopkinton ambulances are tied up, they initially get paged to come here, and they don't come here, because the ambulance and crew are tied up, and by mutual aid, they send Pinnacle for rescue. They are charging us for that toned call that they do not respond to. Personally, I have a little bit of a problem. That's like a police department, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's like a police department getting called to Salisbury, and all of a sudden Steve gets called off the town line because state police have responded and have enough units to respond to it, or Andover comes down, if this makes sense to you. I'm trying to draw an analogy. So he made a very good explanation of that, and he has done some pretty heavy-duty research, not just with Hopkinton, but with other communities around us that have ambulance services. He speaks of Henniker. I don't think Warner wants, they want to create a more alliance with us, okay? And I think the police departments work well together, but they want to create, and they want to create an alliance of discussion with us to talk about some of these hidden expenditures that come out in what I call the intestines of the contract, my term, excuse me, but when we started going through that, I'm going, you're making some pretty good sense here. So I'd like to have a greater discussion. I'd like to discuss with them how we can maybe work together. Now, Warner is one of the highest tax rates in the state. And like us, they have a unique population. They don't have millionaires. They have some people that are very wealthy and very well off, but not everything is money flowing into the town like it is in here. We have a lot of bedroom community here. We have some wealthy people and very nice properties in our town. But that doesn't always mean that our tax rate is gonna be lowered by that, and you know that better than me. So I really would like to have a discussion, go back to the town administrator and the chairman, who I thought Dana and I had a good, I have to admit, I kinda put it to the point that day, that you gotta sharpen your pencil with us. But I don't mean that disrespectfully, I just think we all have to look at it, and how we can work better with Hopkinton, because they provide an excellent service. And I've had people in this town, since we've discussed it, say to me, we need to have Hopkinton ambulance. And so I don't wanna lose any opportunities, but I really wanna work together to see how we can minimize this a little bit more. Does that sound reasonable? And there might not be a way to do it. I mean, I was in this meeting the other day, and expenditures of ambulance, the state's new requirements, and also the fact that when they send a bill out to somebody through whatever service they're using, let's say a Webster resident calls for the ambulance. I think we've said this before in the public, we'll hear it a second time, but it's important to know. That bill goes to the insurance company, and the insurance company, or the provider, and that money comes back to the person who requested the ambulance service. It doesn't come back to the town of Hopkinton. And I think we need to work together, the three towns, to change that. And figure out the mechanism.
Absolutely.
The lawful mechanism, because they take, some people, I wouldn't do it, and not on my mother's grave, 2 polygraphs, I wouldn't do it. But what I'm gonna say to you is because there's some fraud involved in that. But what I would say is some people take that check and the town never sees it, that's party money. That's not right.
And to your point for the response, if we have a police officer and they respond towards Salisbury, when they're responding in Salisbury, we get paid by Salisbury for that.
If we handle the call.
If it's handled.
Yeah.
But,
If we handle the call.
but there's the kind of correlation is actually really good, because unlike ours, where, okay, the volunteers showed up, they went, they started going, and then they got called off, but they've already done all this work. With Hopkinton Ambulance, much like our police, they're only gonna respond if they're already on the job. So them going out a little bit and coming back is not anything other than like some gas, basically.
Point me.
So, sure, it makes sense that there's some form of fee or something like that, but it certainly shouldn't be counted the same as a full call.
Well, I think, both the gentleman from Warner and myself think it is. I could be totally wrong, but I think it requires more dialogue and more discussion. I also want the chiefs involved in the conversation. I want to hear, I do want to hear from the Hopkinton chief. He's a professional chief. Emmett does his best here with what we have to work with, but with that, and the team here. But what I'm saying is,
And I believe Warner has theirs hired as an employee as
yes,
well.
he's a part-time chief, and you're right. And a very good, good guy, and a very good part-time, a very good chief, he's part-time, he does a good job. But, the fire service, and rightfully so, is going to say, we need to pay for the service, and I totally agree with that. But it's not that I disagree with anything else, it's I wanna quantify what
And
else we're
understand
paying.
what you're paying for.
Point me, point me.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
There are
We
hidden
want the
costs.
payments to be
Yeah,
fair.
Yeah,
right.
and I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I'm not a stupid guy. You know what I'm saying? Neither of any of my colleagues here. I wanna make sure we're on the right path, but I want Hopkins to understand we wanna work with them. This isn't a,
I think ultimately they should want the same.
oh, I think they do,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, I don't, I just,
But we've been in these dialogues. I mean, that meeting we went to that night, it was a nice meeting, but I think we need to personalize how we're having our.
well, you want to say, hey, this is what I see,
Yeah.
please explain.
Yep.
And B, if that's the case, then we need to look at some renegotiation there.
Right.
Right?
Speaking of that meeting, from that meeting, their board was supposed to figure out regarding the transfer station, what they wanted to do with the bonds and get back to us. Have we heard anything?
I believe the response was the bond amount was not set in stone.
Well, the amount isn't.
Well, and
but-
so were the terms, so if we wanted to do a 10-year, I think that's still possible.
Okay. Because that's not what was signed. Because I looked at the signed
I
document.
would have to double check my email, but I believe their town
So-
administrator said it wasn't set in stone yet. If we wanted to make the change, we could.
Okay.
But I would have to double check. I can put that in my notes tomorrow and I'll get that email to you.
So I would just say that when we have that joint meeting, that we should also have the transfer station on the agenda.
And transfer station.
Any gate put at that, and I just want to sit, I was sitting over there on the day after Thanksgiving. Any gate put over there is going to create a traffic problem and hazard right out onto Dustin Road. Is that Dustin Road goes by there? What's the road? that
No,
goes-
East Pennacook.
Oh, East
Well,
Pennacook.
yeah, it turns into
Pennacook,
Dustin, right?
yeah.
So I mean, I think we, you know, I respect everything they're trying to do, and I think we need to have compliance out there, but I think there's a better way to get it, and I think we all should be part of that conversation. There's a lot of Webster people were coming, I was backed up 6, 8 cars, and I can only imagine what a gate was, and this was, you know, just going to the dump, you know what I'm saying? So if you put a gate in there, what that's gonna do.
Well, and also if it's an RFID gate, so the first person goes in and the car behind them doesn't have a dump sticker, they go in too, and then the person behind them.
Well, what
goes in,
happens
they
to an
go in.
RFID gate? Either electricity goes out or the gate,
Yeah.
you know what's, okay?
Right, it's, there's a lot of issues with it.
The beds, as they say, so I mean, you know what I'm saying, it's, you know. But anyway, sorry to get off there,
Yeah.
but I just wanted you guys to know what it was, he called me, you know, it was day before Thanksgiving, I wasn't gonna call everybody and bother anybody, it's just he and I meeting, and I was gonna brief you on that anyway, so.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yes, go ahead.
Question on the ambulance. They have been to my house several times. My insurance pays. Are you telling me that Webster is still paying them for that trip to my house?
That's the qualify and quantify, I wanna figure that out. That's a good question, and that's one of the questions I'm gonna ask. And what you're saying to me is your insurance is paid for the call. That's, and that's part of the, excuse my term, but that's part of the intestines of what we're trying to talk to them about. Because they give a number for exactly that, how much insurance money has been paid and they've received. But there's also another element to that, and maybe I didn't explain it clearly enough, and I apologize if I didn't, is that there are people, because of the collection agency, if people don't have insurance, or people have to pay themselves, or somehow the money comes in, that goes to a collections agency who returns,
Yeah.
that goes, there's an intermediate person there, I need to figure out who that is.
Yeah.
And apparently, I could be totally wrong, but that check is sent not to the town, it's sent to the person, i.e. it would have been sent to you
Yeah.
to send to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not every insurance pays anybody other than the person.
Point made.
And so, the same thing with like car insurance. When I've had my car crashed into a couple different times, in one case, the other person's insurance paid the body shop directly.
Yep.
In another, they sent me a check that I had to cash and then turn over or pay in result. So it depends a lot, depending on the insurance company and other factors.
It just feels like in healthcare,
This is.
and that it
Yeah,
shouldn't.
healthcare's weird.
Yeah, it shouldn't, that, yeah, because it happens. If we have something that's in an accident, we get the check and then we pay the repair.
But if-
But I'm thinking on healthcare, some people maybe just be naive, but they may not totally see and understand the whole.
Right,
As
right.
medical bills are,
Yeah,
when you start getting flooded with like 10 to 12 of them from all these different departments and you're wondering, am I getting charged? You know what I mean? It's a lot.
yeah.
So.
It can change though with the No Surprise Act that they just passed. So if you look up the No Surprise Act, you'll learn more about how ambulance is being paid. And
Right.
the
We're
insurance
not gonna
company
get
is supposed to pay the provider that bills. If there's any balance bill, that's where the No Surprise Act comes into play. So that's why you didn't receive a check, it would have gone to the ambulance company.
There are a lot of questions, there are a lot of finite questions that you asked, I want to ask, and I want to get clarification. It's kind of why I want their chief there, because I feel he can probably give the better clarification. That way we can come back to the public and say, look, this bill is reasonable, we gotta pay it. We did work on it a little bit, they were willing to reduce it a little bit, but we've got to pay for that medical care, we've got to pay for those ambulances. You know, you'd
And
fall
that's-
off your chair if you knew what Hennecker was paying.
That's what's different with the ambulance, you have two pieces. You have the transport and you have the medical.
Right.
They get medical care and they have transport care.
And that's one of the things that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe is something that is not really addressed in the contract, is that a call is a call. Whether they show up and say, yep, you look fine, whether they show up and do a whole bunch of emergency care and then go, or whether they show up, do life-saving support and then transport the person to the hospital. I think it's all just counted as one call.
Right.
And so maybe there's a difference there, and then that difference also includes whether it's paid out already by insurance or not, whether that's a remaining call. I'm sure this was done back when billing was way easier
Yep.
because of how
Yes.
old this is. And so these probably weren't questions back then.
We haven't had this
But-
discussion in 13 years, so please do have patience with me on how
But,
I'm learning a little
yes.
bit. And I'm not saying that for
But
everybody.
back then also, they could deny coverage if
Yep.
you weren't admitted.
Yep.
Yep.
So it has changed, it's involved.
I do know we need the ambulance. I would say this, I think there's, just like every other community, and this thing I went to, you go to these trainings, it doesn't mean you learn everything and you're gonna solve everything, but every community in this state is dealing with getting EMTs and paramedics on board. They just can't get them, it's like nurses. And I think we're gonna start seeing that. I think we, and maybe even one, and then start looking at creative ways. I've mentioned a couple of them, but I wanna get some community commitment to them on how we can better facilitate the initial response, our so-called fast team, or whatever you wanna call it, people to get there, the public safety people to get there first, what kind of skills they bring to the initial scene, and then keep people alive, and you know what I'm trying to say, it's, I think we need to start taking a good look at recruitment there too, and that's, another whole bailiwick.
Yep. Do we need anything other than just consensus to tell John to keep working on this before our next
Just
meeting?
consensus.
Yeah, I didn't wanna go, we talked about it today, but
Yeah.
I'll take Russ along with me,
Mm-hmm.
if that's,
Sound good?
Yeah, that's
Sounds good to me.
yeah, then
Sounds
we
good
got,
to me.
We appreciate that,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
I'll email her. tentatively
we'll try to get some better
tomorrow.
answers for you. It's-
Thank
And
you
I don't
very
mean
much.
that disrespectfully to what I've just
Yeah, yeah.
qualified.
We just wanna know so that we can have the right
Yep.
conversation. All right. That was really good on that.
Would you set that up, please?
Yeah, I
With-
will set
Thank
that
you.
up tomorrow. So are we gonna go over the budget tonight? Or do you wanna schedule a work session to do that?
Can we do a work session?
I think a work session would make
My
sense.
head is not,
I do wanna make sure that, and I know this was something that I asked for last year, but especially now that we've changed providers a few times, I think it's really important that whether it's contracted technology, whether it's software, whether it's contracted services, or software subscriptions, I think that we need to have a actual list. And this is this, and we expect this much for that particular item, so that things, A, don't get dropped, and B, we can actually say, yeah, we know that this is in
We're
there.
currently working on that, so I'm
So-
working on that with the new IT company.
Perfect.
And they should have, I think I've sent a list out to every department to fill out for what they think the contracted services are. Do I think we're gonna be perfect year one? No, cause we're gonna come up with stuff that we didn't put into it for the initial contract, and they plan on that as well. So as they come up, we're just gonna give them, I'm sure Steve's on board with this too. We'll give it to the IT company and make sure that they can keep adding to their list.
Yeah. So with that, and not having gone over final numbers, not having done final reviews and adjustments for salaries, I'll just state that what has come in as requests has been currently a 6.62% increase in the operating budget. Again, that is operating budget only, that is not capital reserve funds, which we'll see what happens with this. The spitball math before doing the, before going into the CIP stuff, which needs to go in there, but the spitball for that was that the warrant articles and stuff would be down a couple percent overall. And that may be more significant depending on how much we get back and what we decide to do with what comes back. However, there's a lot of expectation in the CIP portion that is requesting basically double what we would normally have been requesting, based on what's coming back. So, to be continued.
Can you get us a bigger, email us more eligible?
Yeah, once I get it into
Yeah.
the actual
Okay.
spreadsheet, then,
I know I'm old, but
Yeah, have you ever seen like, all these natural vitamin bottles?
Yeah.
You go to read them. It's like, what are they doing? It cracks me up. I'm like,
think
Yeah,
you're
well,
trying
if
to
you just
poison me
send
with
me this
aspirin.
as an Excel, then I'll
Just
just
take a picture of it.
dump it into our
Yeah.
yeah, I can get
warrant
you that.
article stuff, so we
Right,
have
then
all
we'll-
the accurate numbers in front of us
Well,
when we
Robin
talk
was
about it.
nice enough to provide it to me, so I can get it to you guys.
Perfect. Since we wanted to workshop on it, when do we wanna do said workshop?
well, when do you
work session.
guys, I mean,
nighttimes I'm around right through the holidays.
maybe.
Whenever you guys wanna do it.
Can we do it somewhere, in the earlier afternoon?
Let's see.
My schedule's changed. Next week's gonna be difficult, but beyond that, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and/or Friday. If that works for you.
For during the day?
Yeah, if you wanna do something like
You want
I
sharp?
could probably do a little bit after lunch on this Tuesday the 16th.
Okay. Are we gonna be doing Hopkinton that night too?
Oh, I don't know, we haven't gotten confirmation and stuff.
Well,
have we?
Hopkinton and Warner, Hopkinton sent out that they wanna meet with us on the 16th.
that. Meet with all of us.
All of us, this board, Warner's board,
That was Hopkinton?
and that was Hopkinton. I think they're gonna discuss the ambulance and the transfer station.
Okay.
So, we're not meeting with them individually.
Well, we would try to do that before
Okay.
the meeting with Hopkinton on the 16th.
So when are we scheduled to?
If possible, if not, we might reschedule the other one.
16th of this month?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, when is it? It's 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
Sorry,
I think it's the day after our meeting.
day after.
Yeah, that would, the 15th Monday would be our next one.
Last month of the year. Yeah, the 16th, I'm not doing anything, so.
Cause we can meet before that here and do budget and then go over to Hopkinton after.
What time are they wanting to meet?
I believe it's at their normal select board time, 6:30.
So what time would you folks like to meet here?
Well, that sounds great, except we're gonna wanna eat before we go over there for
We
6:30.
can always order a
so-
pizza for the.
Yeah,
work
last
session.
time I was a bit hungry.
Yeah.
I almost ate all the cookies.
They were good.
They were good, yeah. Lo and behold.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
Yeah.
if-
I can
could
get
make
some
something
market
work.
basket pizzas and put them in the oven, we got ovens downstairs, so there's always that possibility too. Or just get a pizza and have it delivered, or go pick it up before.
So do you wanna do that, or do you wanna meet like right after lunch for budget and say we're definitely out by like 3:30 or 4, so that we have time to go eat and then go.
I
over
think
to
that's a good
Hopkinton.
idea if everybody else can do that.
So, 12:30, 1 o'clock, what do you feeling?
I'm willing to go grab a couple, well, I guess we'll eat after that then, before we go to Hopkins. I was gonna say I'd grab a couple pizzas, but we want some space between that and Hopkins. I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah, no, whatever you guys wanna do. 12:30, 1
What
o'clock.
works for you?
1 o'clock.
1
One would be
o'clock?
better, yeah.
Okay.
1:00 p.m.
Okay. And then we go to Hopkinton for 6:30.
And Hopkinton, and I
So when-
confirmed that it's 6:30, but I believe that's what you
When
said.
do you want to, next week's an open week for me, the Thursday looks better, or Friday. When do you want to go to Hopkinton to discuss?
So I'm gonna give them the option of the Thursday and the Friday, cause those are the days you're
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
And see what they come back with, and then I'll get that to you. Cause we
Bear with
also
me a
have to coordinate that with Warner as well.
Bear with me a sec, let me check a second schedule, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm off next, 8th, 9th, sorry, bear with me. I'm working next Thursday, I'm sorry, so it would have to be Friday or Friday.
Just Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, we'll just have that combined meeting with him, I mean,
Yeah, and I think,
but our Warner friend wants to be there, so I don't wanna cut him out of that.
right, and they gave me some updates for you that, since we're gonna do contract negotiation, I'm not gonna be public.
Okay.
We'll bring it up after.
All right.
I'm just, not to explain, but I'm doing some law enforcement training for people out there. so-
Yeah, no, that's fine. I figured we'd try to make it work on the schedule they wanted to do, if we
Yeah,
can,
yep.
we can.
Yeah, we can pull off, so I've got a range day one day, but I think I can, I think that's the 10th on Wednesday, I think I can, what else do I have that day? I don't,
Well, we can try for Friday, and if they
Yeah.
can't do Friday, we'll figure out something
yeah,
after that.
okay. No, I've got, that's, yeah, I've got something else I can think of.
Yes. And we'll do the work session 16th at 1 o'clock
Yeah.
till 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I will save anything else for the
And by
workshop
then, we should
there.
have everything. And then we have, we ready?
Anything else for
No.
budgetary?
Thank you for your patience on the Hopkinton.
All right. So, that then brings us to new business timber abatement.
Okay, so I was contacted by the owner, thinking the bill was overbilled for the timber evaluation that I did. So I contacted Rick Evans, and Rick Evans said, you know, it looks fair. However, there is some stipulation in the law that if the person has a contract with contracted prices in it, if he can furbish us with the contract, we would go with whatever the contracted prices were for what the logger, for what the bid was. So Mr. Babel came back to me with his contract, and I put the contracted numbers for the sale into the spreadsheet, and there was a difference in the amount. And this is just abating to the difference from the contract.
Okay.
So he furnished you the contract.
He emailed it to me.
I had that happen to one of our customers. I hope they're gonna be
I
as
thought
good
I
to
did
him.
it fair. Rick Evans also thought I did it fair.
Well, there's a lot of looseness to the whole thing.
Well, yeah.
Because even these ones that are so small, a lot of people are getting charged for that to even cut their trees, so it's like, yeah.
Well,
But
the
that's a
thing.
whole, that's a whole nother time for a whole
Well, I
nother
didn't wanna
discussion.
overcharge
And
them
that's
either,
not, and that's
so.
not for us to decide necessarily, it's just, it's a very loosey-goosey way to do it.
Okay, I have one signing of document, oh, correspondence.
Yes,
Before I
correspondence.
forget, we did have a couple core pieces of correspondence. We've already talked about one, which was the meeting with Warner. I also have the results for the 2024 cyclical monitoring, if anybody wants to see that, from the DRA. And then the last piece of correspondence was Karen for the meeting on the 16th. That's just basically going over, they come out and they review 10 properties every year.
Make sure that we're not charging too much or too little.
Correct. It's a spot check, and that's the results of the spot check.
Yeah, this is the state making sure that our assessors aren't full of it.
Well, sometimes.
Excuse me.
I think our meeting just left.
Looks like it.
And then we're gonna have a couple non-public sessions.
You understand what you're looking at?
3.
Well, I looked at it, and it's nothing unusual.
I find it interesting that there's missized things. I understand like an added something that was observed or something, or extra features that had been added, because probably somebody just didn't have it on their form, or it happened this year, so it'll be on the form in April. But
And
I don't understand when things are mismeasured.
I also wanna give a brief update on our code enforcement officer, so he's done his paperwork, we're just waiting for the background check to come through.
Great.
And once that's done, then
And you're gonna assign projects.
we're gonna assign projects. He's gonna have stuff to
The
do.
second page has
Right from the start, I was talking to him in the office this morning, cause he came in to do his background check with Phil. So that's moving right along.
Good.
And funny enough, we had somebody apply for the job over my vacation, somebody different, so.
Well,
You know, you try to apply, have people apply for it for like a year and
I know,
and
right?
nobody bites.
So what
Well,
you
And
do
all
is,
of a sudden,
I think talking it up amongst us and getting it out there, I think.
Helps.
We talked about the severity of it, how serious we took it. For a little
Yeah.
part-time job, it makes somebody nice little part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And we support what they're trying to do.
And
Well-
not that we're going to be backing out of things unless something goes horribly sideways, but does new person appear qualified?
they are very qualified. They are more qualified than our current candidate. This is one, he goes into the other bucket where we're looking for, which is somebody who's retired and just looking for a couple hours. So this is a retired person who's, just wants to pick up a couple hours.
What was the purpose, and you mentioned it, and I didn't pick up on it, just very briefly, what was the purpose of the homes selected? What made them select these homes?
I think they're selected at random.
Really?
I think they have to be are they qualified sales, or is that the other thing?
It's, I believe they would have to be qualified sales, they're not gonna look at the non-qualified ones.
They selected the Webster property, meaning town of Webster property, right?
Right.
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting. Okay.
it must be right.
Well, I'm surprised they looked at that, but I guess it makes sense, cause those ones really aren't updated as much, cause the value doesn't get taxed.
Mhm. Well, the state wants to make sure that the value's there so that they charge us as a town, even though we're,
Well, that's fair.
yeah. Because lots of things are based on total valuation, not taxable valuation when you're dealing with county and state. All right, any further correspondence?
That was it, we've already discussed all the other correspondence.
All right, and our public has left, so there's no public comment.
And we don't have draft meeting
One
minutes
public
yet.
comment.
I-
Nope.
So, would you reach out to Brenda tomorrow and ask her why, might be a good reason, I'm not being critical, why the cemetery is locked so people can't enter during the Christmas season? And please, if you would say to her, I understand it's vehicular problems, not going in there, because they get stuck and that becomes another problem. But for people to walk through or go in and address their, their wreaths on their family's graves or whatever, that type of thing. And if there's some way we can work with her to maybe put a different system on those gates for the wintertime that prohibits vehicles but allows pedestrian.
Okay.
Does that all make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay. And I mean, sincerely work with her, not be prohibitive in any way.
Do we have motions and or signing that we need to do?
We have one signing, but everybody else has signed it, but John.
Okay. Oh,
Really?
Yeah, nice, John. Just that's one big line.
Well, Wendy's gonna ask me,
That must be for my $50,000 salary.
Is it? Yeah. Well, it's
well,
52 now.
payroll's being done this week, and then we're gonna have another check run, so. Just be aware on Friday.
There you go.
it's gonna
Thank you.
want Signatures.
All right, so that brings us to minutes then, but we
We
didn't
don't
have a
have minutes,
packet.
cause I only had,
So that
2
makes
days
sense,
to
so
get
we
them
will
done, so
address
we're
those
gonna-
minutes at the next meeting. And we've done our signing.
we have non-public under personnel.
Personnel. All right. I would move that at 7:50, we enter into non-public session under personnel.
I second.
All right, and roll call, Dave, yes?
Marlo, yes?
Yes.
All right, and as per usual, this was the end of our normal public meeting anyway, so we will come back into public session as required by law, but we will just close public session after the non-public sessions are done. So there will not be a resumption of street.